For almost 3 decades, Robinson's Land Corporation has grown with you as an industry leader that continues to uphold its legacy in the property landscape, alongside its equally successful affiliates spread throughout the nation. As a subsidiary of one of the largest conglomerates in the Philippines, JG Summit Holdings Incorporated, Robinson's Land establishes competitive names in various industries that paved its way to becoming a trusted brand in the country. Today, a fresh perspective on Philippine real estate will take condo living to a whole new level with a bolder and stronger brand. RLC Residences is a brand that every family and young urban professional will be proud to own, allowing you to raise, live, connect. Immerse yourself with elevated lifestyle experiences, world-class design, and elegant living spaces that enrich everyday life. Experience meaningful digital solutions and innovations, spaces that work for you and your loved ones. A promise of quality that transcends everyday living. Swift connections that get you close to the action, empowering you with mobility that gives you an edge. All supportive of your quest to have a rewarding life and career. Among its extensive portfolio of prime residential developments, RLC Residences gives you the power to choose more than just an investment, but a home that lets you embrace the future with the people you share the journey with. RLC Residences raises the game and elevates lifestyle experiences, allowing you to live in the future with a balanced lifestyle while connecting with people most important to you. To top it all, these award-winning developments are curated with you in mind to make city living worth pursuing. As we step into the new chapter, creating stronger and bolder selections of prime residential developments, we continue to look forth with the same enthusiasm that blossomed 3 decades ago. The same passion and determination that brought us to where we are now. As one RLC Residences, together, we invite you to embrace the future with RLC Residences.
Hello, happy Chinese New Year. I am Doreen and I will be with you as we discover how we can create good feng shui in our homes only here in Meetups by RLC. I hope everyone tuning in is excited for today's fresh episode because we will be talking about how we can attract all the good luck, all the good vibes, and all the good energies for the year of the metal ox, all by just tweaking our homes. Yes, you heard it right. We can attract all the good things by just staying home because that is the beauty behind feng shui. More to that a little later because now is the perfect time for you guys to share away, click that share button, tag your friends in the comment section so you can all have a watch party and that they won't miss the tips that we'll be discussing in this episode. All right, of course, I'm no expert in feng shui, which is why we invited an expert to guide us through our topic. I hope you all are ready for it. Our speaker for today has been trained in Asia and North America and is an advocate of classical schools of feng shui and Chinese metaphysics. He has been featured in numerous media outlets such as CNN, ANC, ABS-CBN, and major Philippine publications such as Philippine Daily Inquirer, Philippine Star, and Manila Times. Our guest also holds a degree in Management Engineering and Economics from the Ateneo de Manila University and a master's from the University of California in Los Angeles. He also got an advanced analytic courses from MIT and Stanford University. Not just that, he also held vice president positions for multinational corporations, including HSBC and Wells Fargo. Our well-rounded speaker is sought after as he can give advice, not just from a feng shui point of view, but on business and finance as well. Their family is famous for their yin and yang shop of harmony in New World Makati Hotel. Let's give a virtual welcome to Mr. Patrick Lim Fernandez.
Hi, how are you? Kong si Fat Sai, Kong Hei Fat Choi, Happy New Year, and I'm glad to be here with you.
Wow, sorry sir, can you repeat that? That's kung,
Sure.
who's
So in Mandarin, in
yes, sir.
Mandarin we say Kong si Fat Sai, and then in Cantonese it's the more popular Kong Hei Fat Choi. And what it really means is not exactly Happy New Year, but wishing you prosperity and good luck this coming year. So that's what it literally means in English.
Oh, kasi in the Philippines, sir, it's usually kung hei fat choy. That's Cantonese, right?
Correct. Correct. That's a
Okay.
Cantonese. And then in Hokkien,ese which is our local almost dialect, it's Kyongsi Huatsai. So many different ways of saying it, all with the same meaning of prosperity for the new year.
I hope you're good, sir, because I'm feeling well energized and very excited for today's topic. Now, sir, let's cover the basics first. What is feng shui? Where did it come from? And what is the basic principle behind feng shui?
So feng shui literally translated from Chinese means wind and water. And what it really entails is living in harmony with nature and the environment. So it's about understanding and using the flows of the energies around us. And the word in Chinese is called qi or life energy.
Mhm.
And that's really the key tenet and the key thing that is important in feng shui. Essentially, if you have qi, you're alive. If you don't have qi, you're not alive. And it's based on science and calculations. So some misconceptions about feng shui is it's a religion, it's fortune telling, it's mysticism, and nothing could be farther from the truth. It's really based on a lot of numbers and trend recognition, and then using all of the understanding of the data and also putting that into very well documented feng shui structures and paradigms to get the output of how do we, as you mentioned earlier, move around our furniture, arrange our home, finding a good home, all in terms of living good with nature. And this is a very old belief system. It started 6,000 years ago in China. So right now it's really spread throughout the world because I think it has a strong focus on the environment. And there's really a return back to basics, back to being green, and we're seeing that come back full circle with people now believing and wanting to follow the feng shui tenets. So there's a few different schools of thought. There's, Swan Kong, Eight Mansion, Yin Tai, and so on, and each has a different purpose. But there's really some basic elements that tie everything together. There's 5 elements, which we'll go in detail later. They're wood, water, fire, earth, and metal. And it's knowing how these interactions make the luck of a property and also a person. And then also just to clarify, feng shui has to do with land, property, real estate. Chinese metaphysics is more to do with the person, the luck of the individual given their birthday, and so on. So those are kind of two distinctions. It's really both the place and the person. And with that, that's kind of a high level view of what feng shui is.
So it's true, sir, that by having a few design adjustments in our condos, then we can reflow or rechannel the energies and use those to turn our luck.
Correct. More often than not, people already have a lot of these items at home. So there are some feng shui items we can share later that are particular for certain energies. A lot of the times, you can rely on certain decorations, certain colors, certain elements that you may already have lying around the house. And it's also arranging the furniture so that you can activate certain areas and deactivate certain areas. So for example, when we say activate an area where there's good energy, it could mean if there's a door, using that door often.
Yeah.
It could also mean if, for example, in a certain area that's lucky, there's no furniture there, there's no sofa, no easy chair, no table. Maybe putting those pieces of furniture in that area so that you spend time and occupy it, and then you activate that area as well. Another thing is also using sound and movement. So the more sound, the more moving there is in that area, that's good. So because on the flip side, if you want to deactivate an area, do not have movement like renovation or repairs in that area as much as possible. So hold off renovation if it's not in a good area. And some basic things that you can do to activate an area as well. So you can use water features like fountains or aquariums, even humidifiers that could activate an area. You can put flowers and plants, and also you can put electronic devices. The easiest thing would be a clock. So a clock with a moving hand that could also activate an area. So a lot of these things I'm sure you can find around the house, and it's just a matter of putting it in the right place to activate your luck.
Yeah, having said that, Sir Patrick, I believe in this episode, we'll go through five different aspects of life. First aspect that we will tackle is about relationships. Because maintaining a healthy and well-balanced relationships with our family and our loved ones is very important. So, Sir Patrick, can you walk us through how Feng Shui can help us improve our relationships?
Sure. So before we get into that particular aspect, I wanted to touch on something you mentioned earlier, which is the direction. So something that's key actually to feng shui is knowing the different areas and different sectors in your home and what direction they're in. So what you can do is get a floor plan of your house and then find out where the center is, or more often than not, if it's an apartment, you'll know more or less where the center is. So stay in the center, and then you can use an app on your smartphone. For example, if you have an iPhone or an Android, there usually is a compass app that you can use. Alternatively, you can use a traditional magnetic compass. That should work as well. So stand in the center of your home and then find out where north and south are initially, and then find out where all the other directions are. So west, northwest, southeast, etc. And then soon you'll have like a grid, a 3 by 3 grid with all the 8 different directions, including the center. And that should be kind of like your map of where the different energies are. So given that, what we're then going to do is identify for each aspect what sector that energy is strong in and whether you should activate it or not, and so on. So for relationships, there's a couple of different sub aspects I wanted to touch on. The first one is good, the next one is not so good. So I'll start with the good one. So the first one has to do with energy around charisma or romance. So this is, if you have a significant other, wife or husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, or alternatively, if for your family or your friends. On the professional perspective, you can also use this with your colleagues, or if you're in sales in particular, this is going to be important because this signifies getting to be closer in building relationships with your client base. So this is an important sector, especially for sales. And this year it's the South sector.
South, okay.
Correct. And in terms of activating it or not, you need to activate it if you want to tap into these energies. And it's the activating tips I mentioned earlier, for example, like a water fountain or a humidifier, clock, and so on. So those are the things you can do to activate or occupying it. The element that has to do with activating this area is metal. And in terms of color, this would be color white or metallic colors such as silver, gold, bronze, and so on. The shape that is associated with metal is round. So
Round.
correct, the round shape, or even like a sphere, like a ball. In terms of decors, this one's pretty straightforward. You can have anything that's made out of metal. So if you have anything that's made out of iron, aluminum, if you have, you can put your gold bars there if you want. That should activate in terms of accents or decors. Try to find those things, vases that are metallic. Those should be good metal. Even better if it's round and metallic. And then for items, we have in our shop an item called the brass pumpkin. So if you want, for some of our clients, that's what they put in that area to activate, the relationship lock. So those are all things we can do for the romance energy or the romance star. On the flip side, there's an energy that has to do more with conflict or quarrels. And this is the Southwest this year. So in
Southwest.
terms of correct. So in terms of activating it, you should not activate it. Keep it quiet or don't occupy if possible. And what you should do here is subdue the energy. So earlier we talked about enhancing a good energy. When there's a negative energy or it's not so good, what you should do is subdue it. So what we recommend is introducing the element of fire. Fire color wise has to do with the red things or red tones such as orange, pink, purple. The shape for fire is a triangle. So if you think of a bonfire triangle, that's how fire gets its triangular shape. Items here, you could put candles, you can put incandescent lights, sunlight, you can put electronic equipment. All of those would signify fire as well. And then in terms of objects, we have in our shop what we call a cosmic tortoise. That one subdues the quarrel energy so that it would reduce conflicts and clashes, and it would produce harmony. So those are the two things to keep in mind for relationships. Again, for the romance energy, it's the south, and then for the conflict energy, it's the southwest.
Sir, having mentioned electronic equipments, can it be smart home devices? Like now we have
Absolutely.
Alexa. Is that possible?
Yes.
Is that included also?
Yes, as long the element of fire has to do with energy. So whenever
Energy.
there's electrical energy passing through, be it stored energy from a battery or active energy from direct current or alternating current, those would all qualify as fire.
And then in terms of sunlight, if there's a window over your southwest direction, then you should always open your window, or should you put a curtain or open the curtain?
Yeah, so for this one, because you need to have the light into it, opening the curtain would be good because then you're introducing the fire element there, correct?
Okay. So those are south and southwest. So you should improve on your south and then open your windows on the southwest area to avoid the conflict section in your house. All right. Now, for the second aspect, health, and it probably is the most relevant topic that we'll dive into. Sir Patrick, can you tell us more about the correlation of Feng Shui and health or wellness?
Sure. So the interesting thing is if we look at feng shui and the five elements I mentioned earlier, there's a whole other branch of in China around traditional Chinese medicine. And interestingly enough, they also use those five different elements as a foundation. And for example, if you've heard of acupuncture, a lot of the principles of acupuncture is very in line with the principles of feng shui. Feng shui has to do with the qi of the land, of real estate. Acupuncture has to do with the qi of the human body. So they can find these different pressure points and then activate it. So the foundations are the same, the five elements. And then when we talk about on the feng shui aspect for health, especially with the pandemic this year and last year going on through this year, as you mentioned, it's top of mind for a lot of people. There's really just one star, and this is the sickness star. So there's no positive; it's just the negative, unfortunately. So this star we need to
For this
subdue.
year, sir, just the
Yeah.
negative this year.
Yeah, there's only one health-related star in feng shui, and that's the sickness star. And this year it's in the north. So in terms of activating it, you should keep it inactive if possible. Don't stay there. One thing to watch out for is if your bedroom is in the north. That's something to look at. What you can do if that's the case, because you can. One is if there's an option to sleep in another bedroom and keep that bedroom closed. That's one option.
Yeah.
The other one is if you go into your room, find out if your bed is in the north area of your bedroom. If it's not, then it's good. If it is, try to move it so that it's not in the north. So this is known as kind of the micro feng shui within the room. So that's one thing you can do. If you can find another place to live, that would be ideal as well. Probably the most important room in feng shui is the bedroom because we spend pretty much a lot of time there, and it's where we energize and get our rest. So if we don't address that, then that would be not so good. One key thing to remember for this sickness energy is do not put anything related to fire. So try to avoid things that are red in this
Yeah.
area if possible. So what you can do to counteract it is introduce metal. So all the things we talked about earlier, things that are white or metallic in color, things that are round, things that are made of metal, all of those things would be good to put in the sickness area to help subdue it. And then in terms of items, we have an item called the longevity peach. This one is round and metal, and then you can put it by your bed, or sorry, in the north sector, so that it will subdue the energy, the sickness energy from that area.
So it would be best if that particular area in your room or your storage area or an empty space, and that you
Yeah.
shouldn't linger around your north side of
Yeah.
the units.
Yes.
Ooh, and then
Yes.
the
Yeah.
brown
E-
metallic.
Exactly. 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 If you can avoid staying in that area, try to do that, and just really watch out if it falls in your bedroom. I think that's going to be the key. So you can put the do these. Either you can avoid it or you can cure it. So those are kind of two things you can do.
All right. Or just spend around your living area or the other side of your room. Just make sure that,
Yes.
you don't do your businesses or your activities in the north area. Okay. That's two aspects down. Next is career. This is the
Yes.
aspect that I've been personally waiting for because I'm curious how we could all move forward from 2020. Like 2020, some like home-based businesses, right? So there's concern whether they should scale down, scale up, right? And for those who shifted to work from home arrangement, how can they level up their performance and then climb the respective corporate ladder?
Sure. So this one has two stars associated with it, and they're both good. So that's good. The first one has to do with a career, and it also includes academic energy. So this would be for people who are working in a corporation or a business, and even for students in any grade level. This would apply to them, or even if you're taking your master's or other studies. So this is associated this year with the east direction,
Please.
and you should definitely activate it if possible. And in terms of what you want to introduce to this area, it's the element of water. So water associated from a color perspective with blue and black. So those are the water colors. Shape wise, it's anything that's curvy or wavy or irregular shape. Something like water. Like there's no definite shape. It's very it takes the shape of whatever exactly, like a wave. And then in terms of decors, you can put water features like if you have small fountains or aquariums, or if you have again the humidifiers. Uh, Another thing you can do is put reflective surfaces like mirrors, or if there's like shiny decors you can put it there as well. That would simulate the energy of water. And then from a item perspective, there's a couple we have. One is called the Power and Authority Seal, and this is good for people who are working. And then if you're a student, we have something called the Dragon Head Fish. So this is literally a fish that has a head of the dragon, and this is actually pretty effective. We give this to all our clients who have kids who are still studying. So it helped me through school, so I think it worked. And then next is if you're looking to up level your career, and this is usually good for people who are already in positions of authority, and people in government, in public office, or CEOs or VPs and up, and so on, or if you have your own business. So this is called the Travel and Fame Star, and this year it's in the center. So what this means is you're basically up leveling yourself to a position of high authority. If you think about it, in ancient times, this would be like the emperor or a general. And the item associated with this from an element perspective is earth. So we haven't talked about earth yet. So the color is yellow, brown, or beige. Those would be the earth colors. From a shape perspective, it's the square shape. And in terms of decors, you can put things that are earthware, like pottery or clay, things of that nature. You can also put stones or crystals. I know a lot of people collect crystals these days. That would represent Earth, so you can put that there as well. And then you can also put even images of landscaping or mountains. So
Oh,
like artwork, if you have anything of that nature, or if you draw, you can draw it yourself, or you can print it out of the web, and then you can put it there. That's especially good. So from an item perspective, we have an item called the golden cicada. The cicada is known to travel in droves. So when they come, they dominate an area where the sky is darkened because of the number of cicada. And so that's what we have as an item that one can put in the travel and fame direction, which this year is in the center.
so most of our projects have pools, right? So it may be a kiddie pool or a lap pool. So would you advise our viewers to stay in the pool deck just so they can vibe all the good things coming from the east side?
If the pool is in the east, then or in one of these good directions, then for sure go ahead. It Yeah, exactly. Because to your point, like apart from even just our unit, right? You can expand this
Yes,
to
the golden
a development. Yeah. So when we have, for example, clients, we do projects with large real estate developers. Actually, my very first job was with a real estate developer based in Manila. You first look at the entire property and the energies there, and then you keep moving into smaller areas like the buildings, the common areas, the units, the rooms, and so on. So it's kind of like a from a major to minor energy approach. And to your point, if there's certain areas in your development or if in your house or larger subdivision that are in these good sectors, try to spend some time there, especially if there's water and there's sunshine. That's going to be good for health as well. Just do it in a safe and healthy manner.
yes, yes, and practice social distancing.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. Our next aspect is on the wealth and prosperity side. So for most, this is the area that we all want to improve on our prosperity, where to invest, how to improve our cash flow, and of course, save more this year. Sir?
Sure. So for wealth, there's actually three different stars. Two are good, one not so good. So we'll go through each one.
Yeah.
The first one is the wealth star. And this has to do really more with the current period. So really like the immediate present and kind of like short term. And this year, this is in the West. And of course, you should activate this area if you can. Oftentimes, actually, when people um, talk about good areas, this is usually the one area people focus on the most for a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
One So one thing to activate this area, you should have fire, and it's all the things we talked about earlier about fire. So it should be red, things that are triangular in shape, and then the candles or sunlight or electronics. And then we have an item as well called the Fat Wealth Enhancer. You can put that in your wealth sector, and that should help improve your wealth for the immediate future. So for the Chinese, because very prosperous nation throughout the centuries, they have two different aspects of wealth. One is the now, and the next is the future. So this next
Okay.
energy has to do with long-term prosperity. And this year, this is in the northeast. And you should activate the area as well, and try to introduce elements of wood. So we haven't talked about wood yet. So the color of wood is green, and the shape is rectangular. So anything that's rectangular that would invoke the element of wood. And from a decor perspective, this could be wood furniture, wood carvings, sculptures, things of that nature that would classify as wood. Wooden bed. Also, living things like plants or flowers. Those would also signify the wood energy. I think there was a term last year, plantitos and plantitas, right? I think that became a
Yes.
trending term. So this year, try to put it in your northeast if you have a home garden or you're an aspiring botanist at home, and this should help with the energy. One thing as well that's good is you can put things made of cotton or other natural fabrics because these came from plants. And then you can also harness the energy as it's now in just a different form in this area to help activate the energy. And from a feng shui item perspective, we have a double money catcher. So it catches money from both the front and the back. So it really it covers all your bases. So that's from a prosperity perspective. On the flip side, there's this energy called the robbery energy. So this may not literally mean some like a burglar will come to your house and steal your things. This really has to do with loss. So material loss. It could also mean things that are not material that you could lose, like reputation and friendships and so on. So this is a pretty notorious energy, and this year it's in the northwest. So you should not activate this area if possible. And what you can do to help subdue this energy is introduce elements of water. So all the things we talked about water earlier. So things that are blue, things that in shape are wavy or curvy, and then also water features, fountains, aquariums, and whatnot, and also reflective surfaces. And one item we have that's particularly good is something we call a hippo guard. So the hippo actually translated from Latin means water horse. So this is something that can help guard against robbery. And putting it in the northwest should help subdue any earnings you have. So it's important, for example, to do both enhance the wealth sectors and also subdue the robbery sector, because if not, it will just be money in, money out, and we don't want that. So as you mentioned
Yeah.
earlier, trying to find ways to save well and then also invest well, just kind of tapping into my financial background. You should always study the risks and rewards of any investment and make sure it's within your risk tolerance, and then you go forth. But yeah, this piece is pretty important to the Chinese. That's why they have three energies identified just around wealth. So hopefully all of those things can help you save and invest well this year.
So we have to avoid north and northwest because that's
So
where
far,
roughly, yeah, so far. Yeah.
correct.
Okay.
And
I
also the
think
southwest, because that's where the conflict energy is.
yes, yes. But I think this is a good news for our plantitos and plantitas. Make sure that you activate your northeast side. So all of your plants should be placed there, and then incorporate some wood furniture and then some natural fabrics as well. So we could activate all those. Okay.
Correct.
Back to fifth and our last aspect of life, which is very important. I guess this encapsulates or makes our home holistic in terms of activating this part of the home and then emptying this part of your unit. So now is the challenges. Um,
Yes.
sir, let's talk about how we can counteract these negative energies.
Okay, so if we think of all these energies, again, there's nine of them, right? This
Yes.
one is known as kind of the arch villain. So this one's the troublemaker, in other words.
Yes.
There's different names for it. Some call it the disaster energy, and so on, setbacks. But yeah, to your point, it's all about challenges. So if you want to help reduce, challenges or headwinds your way, the energy this year is in the southeast. So that's if we tell people anything of what to do this year, it's to avoid the southeast. And there's a few things. One is similar to the health energy we talked about. It's avoiding red or fire elements in that area. That's very key. I can't stress that enough. And then also, if you can avoid renovations in that area, that should be done as well, because when you renovate and you introduce a lot of movement, a lot of sound,
Yeah.
that activates this not so good energy. So let's not do that. What you can do to subdue it is introducing metal. And again, these would be things that are white, metallic, round in shape, anything made of metal. And then what we have that's pretty interesting, an item that we've a lot of our clients have used over the years. It's called a brass cleansing bowl. It's already made of metal, and it's already round in shape. And what we asked them to do is in the southeast, in any this year, is to ring this cleansing bowl 6 times, and it'll emanate with a pleasing, very pleasing sound. And what
Yes, yes.
happens there is you're able to dissipate the negative energies, and then you're also able to introduce good energies along with that. So again, if there's one direction to remember this year to help avoid any setbacks, it's the southeast. Avoid red, avoid anything with fire, and introduce metal, and you should be good.
So, our unit owners should carefully plan out their units. May it be a studio, one bedroom, three bedrooms. Make sure that these directions don't get activated at all. Right, sir?
Correct.
I'm just curious, sir. What is the lucky color in terms of how would you design your unit? Because
So
I think that we should avoid red, and then some areas we should incorporate red, and then there's blue, black. But in general, sir,
correct.
what? Yeah.
So actually, that's an interesting question. So really, the answer is it depends.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so because there are those 5 different elements and 9 different energies, all associated with different colors and so on. There's no kind of one size fits all answer. It really depends on what area you're talking about and what energy you're trying to enhance or subdue, and then that's the color that you would need. So it can't be, for example, blanket white or blanket red or blanket blue, because if
Yeah.
you introduce it in the wrong places, it actually won't be good. So that's a thing. And this is for me the interesting thing about feng shui. It's it doesn't have to do with, there's some generalities, but at the end of the day there's a very specific structure to it where you can map out these energies, and then you can say, okay, this one here, this here's white, this is red, and so on. And again, the nice thing is if you have a lot of these decors or a lot of these
Yeah.
things with colors in your home, it's just a matter of moving it around. And
Yeah,
then
moving it around. Okay.
and oftentimes, like for certain years, you may not have to move a lot of things. A lot of things could just be in the same place. Some years you may have to do a little bit of moving around. Uh, the good thing there is sometimes when you move around a layout or your furniture, it re-energizes the place because it's
Yeah.
not the same old layout you've known. It just becomes part of the background. It actually
Yeah.
stimulates the mind a little bit more because then you can be
Mhm.
creative. You can
Yes, yes, yes.
actually utilize spaces you never knew you had, right?
Yes,
So
that's
it's
true.
actually going to be a positive thing in a way, even if you have to move a sofa or a TV around. So they can see it that way as well.
Okay. That is five aspects all covered: relationships, health, career, wealth, and the challenges for the year. Feng Shui simply is the art of space arrangement. I hope I got that correctly. It is a discipline that aims to manipulate all the invisible and subtle energies, as mentioned, the chi in your home, and to create a harmony between you, the unit owner, or the ones inside the homes and their surroundings as well. I think, sir, these energies, once synchronized, it equip us to foster our fullest potential. And I think it's, as mentioned, sir, it is by no means a religion, right, sir, but a way of life that can enable us to utilize all the positivity around us. Because in times like this, we really need all the good vibes, all the positivity and good energies that we can get. Sir Patrick, any final words for our viewers?
No, I think you've summarized it pretty well. So, yeah, if I take a step back and think about, harnessing good energy and making it work for us, there's a couple of things that transcend what sign you are or what day you were born. And these are 2 things you can do to help your luck as a person and your personal, energies for this coming year. The first one is around education. So the Chinese are firm believers in education, and from a metaphysical perspective, it's actually one of the 5 pillars that is needed for a successful life, or life pillars. So any way you can improve yourself, if you learn formally through classes or courses, or even informally, if you read a book, talk to an expert, or even watch YouTube videos, all of these are different ways you can improve yourself. And the second one is charity, in Chinese, virtue. So this is where you're able to selflessly and genuinely give. what I call the three T's. Give your time, give your talents, and give your treasures. So if you can do this in a genuine, selfless way to causes that are important to you, or even in your immediate family or friends if they need help, if you're able to lend a helping hand, that is actually a win-win situation. It helps them because or the causes that you're giving to or volunteering for. It also helps you by imbibing positive energy and positive chi. So those two things are what I call like life hacks. They're good for any year, good for any person. If you can do that, those are good for the metaphysics side. And if you combine those with the feng shui aspects we just talked about, this gives you pretty powerful life hacks to be able to understand your luck, understand the luck of your real estate, your place, and then use that to further your energies and luck for 2021.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for gracing our period. I personally enjoyed our session, and I'm very excited to rearrange my place. And I hope our viewers feel the same. Thank you, Sir Patrick.
Okay, thank you. And again, Kong Si Fat Sai, Kyong Hi Huat Sai, Kong Hei Fat Choi,
Kung
wishing
di
everyone
factory.
prosperity and happiness this year. And we send good chi your way. And hopefully, everyone will have a very prosperous and abundant 2021.
Thank you. And to our viewers, thank you so much for tuning all the way here. We hope it inspired you to revamp your units or your personal spaces. Do not forget to check us out here in RLC Residence's Facebook page as we release weekly episodes under our RLC and Focus and Meetups by RLC series. We also have a monthly online property preview that is RLC Home Investment, where you can get to know the latest tips in our projects, promos, and major discounts. Our contact details are now being flashed on your screens. So if you have any inquiries, just reach us and we will be with you in your property investing journey. Again, thank you so much. This has been Lorene. Keep healthy and stay safe.